Growing up, I never knew my father, but my mom never stopped talking about him.
Nobody made penne like your dad.
Maybe one day you'll learn to cook like him.
When I was 8, I found a $50 bill in the park and excitedly showed my mom.
Honey, go back to the park and see if anyone lost it. It's what Dad would have done.
As I got older, Mom was extra hard on me.
Your father would have never raised someone to get a C+ in chemistry. Now you're going to summer school to get your grades up.
I felt like I'd lived up to my dad's standard of excellence. But when I finished summer school with solid B's, Mom gave me a gift.
It's your father's old watch. Hopefully it will help you become as successful as him. And don't lose it. It's one of a kind.
The gift felt more like a bribe. But my best friend Rick, whose dad is a vintage collector, said it was a rare and valuable piece. It was pretty cool. And I gotta admit, when I started wearing that thing, I felt more confident. I started doing better in school, and Mom said my cooking had improved. One day, at baseball practice, I took my watch off and set it on a bench. But when I went to get it afterwards, I couldn't find it. I was freaking out. Has anyone seen my watch? Where is it?
Calm down. We'll find it.
Rick helped me search the baseball field until nightfall, but it never turned up. I was so worried about what Mom would say that I hid my wrist behind long sleeves so she wouldn't find out. But it was 100 degrees outside. I couldn't hide it from her forever. Then, one day when I was walking back from school, in the window of an antique store, on full display, I saw Dad's watch. I pleaded with the shop owner to get it back. Someone must have stolen it. It was my dad's. Please.
Sorry, son. It's my property now.
I slammed my hands on the counter. Give me my watch back! All of a sudden, I was being dragged out of the store by the beefy security guard. He tossed me on the street, and I heard the owner scream,
"Don't set foot in here again!"
When I told Rick what had happened, he was just as angry as me.
That's crazy. It's yours. You proved it. We should call the cops.
No, I don't want Mom to know I lost it.
Okay, what if, hear me out, we break in?
What? Can you imagine what Mom would say? Dad would have disowned you.
Dude, come on. I'll take the fall if we get caught.
But why?
Because you've been weird and sad without it. I want my old friend back.
The next day at school, Rick came to me with plans to rob the antique store that seemed so well thought out, I stupidly agreed to go along with it. That night, Rick and I, in head-to-toe black, wearing fake mustaches and wigs, snuck over to the antique shop. He dislodged the door lock with a screwdriver, then reached his hand through the hole and opened the door.
You remember how to avoid the security cams?
Creep along the wall, crawl along the floor. Creep by the postcards, crawl by the creepy dolls. He nodded approvingly. I did what Rick told me, contorting my body to avoid the cameras, creeping and crawling. But as soon as Rick grabbed the watch, an alarm rung out. Rick tossed me the watch, frenzied.
Gah! My hand slipped and I touched the sensor. Run!
Rick bolted out the door, but as I stumbled out of the store, I tripped over a crack in the road and fell to the cement. Wait! But I saw Rick still running into the darkness. Suddenly, I felt someone yank me to my feet by the back of my shirt.
You're not going anywhere.
The shopkeeper saw the watch in my hand and my mustache dangling off my face.
You!
It was a tug of war for the watch. Then, just as I'd almost yanked it out of his sweaty hands, a cop car, siren wailing, pulled up right behind me. I dropped the watch in shock and it fell on the cement, the face cracking. I'd broken my father's watch and now I was going to jail. Of course, when Mom bailed me out, she was beyond disappointed.
Why would you do something like that?
I didn't want you to know I'd lost it. I thought you'd be mad.
Not nearly as mad as I am right now. Did Rick put you up to this?
I didn't want to rat Rick out. He was only trying to help me. No, it was just me.
Your father would have been so ashamed.
I felt miserable. I tarnished my father's name. I'd never recover. Then, a week later, I heard a knock at the door. There was Rick.
I had to tell you and your mom something.
I didn't want to let him in, but it sounded serious. The three of us sat at the kitchen table.
Miss Williams, Adam didn't lose his watch. I stole it.
What?
My dad has to get in the hospital. He needed heart surgery, and my family doesn't have much money, so I stole the watch and pawned it.
I can't believe it. Then why would you help me steal it back?
Wait, Rick was with you that night?
It was all my idea. I felt bad, and I wanted Adam to have his watch back. So so sorry.
You could have told me. Maybe we could have helped.
I know. I'm sorry. Here.
Rick set my dad's watch on the counter. The face was no longer cracked.
I told Dad you sold your watch to help us. Dad let me trade in his entire vintage collection to get it back. He was so grateful.
As angry as I was, I couldn't blame Rick, and he'd managed to get the watch back. I might have done the same thing if Dad was still with us. It's okay. I understand. Then I saw Mom look at me with tears in her eyes.
Adam, it was brave of you to protect your friend and own up to what you did, and to forgive him too. To be virtuous is more important than being a good cook or funny. I'm just saying, Dad would have been proud.
She put the watch around my wrist and held my hand. Then she stared Rick and me in the eyes.
Now never, ever, ever do anything like that ever again.
Yes, ma'am.